Hello students, we are going to start now the first chapter of civics. The first chapter is the Constitution of India. First, we will see what is covered in this chapter. See, this chapter, it consists of three parts. I have divided it into three parts. In the first part, we are going to see the definition of the concept of constitution. We are going to understand what is a constitution. Thereafter, we will see that why constitution is described as the soul of democracy, and why every country should have a constitution. So this is going to be covered in the first part. In the second part, we are going to see the Constituent Assembly, the assembly which drafted the constitution, which played an important role in drafting the constitution. We are going to study about the Constituent Assembly. Then we are going to see the challenges faced by the framers of constitution. And in the last part, that is the third part, we are going to study about the features of the Indian constitution. The features such as federalism, parliamentary form of government, separation of powers, fundamental rights, fundamental duties, directive principles of state policy, and secularism. So we are going to take part 1 now, which first includes the definition of what is constitution. So students, to understand the constitution, the importance of rules, we will see that how rules play an important part in the games you play. Can you imagine that you can play any game without having rules for it, without following the rules for it? Whatever game you play, suppose it is cricket or hide and seek, so you are following certain rules. So when these games must have been evolved, they must have been developed, so the need of rules must have been felt. Why the rules are required? Suppose while playing cricket, if there is one team doing the batting, then the rule is that the team which bowls first also gets a chance to do batting later. So if such rules would not have been then what would have happened? Maybe those who are the dominant ones, the powerful ones, the influential ones, they would have taken undue advantage. So rules somewhere help in getting fair treatment to all. Whether it is hide and seek or cricket, or for that matter any other game, rules are important. So in the same life, in the same way, what is the need of rules for a country, for running a country? You know that a country is run by a government. So to elect the government, do we require rules? Can a government be elected without creating the rules and procedures for electing the government? So rules are important for holding the elections and conducting the procedure of the elections. So the rules and procedures are important. So what are rules then? These rules, by whom are the rules made? Nowadays in modern societies, the rules are made by consensus. What is the meaning of consensus? By agreement. So the people, they agree on the rules for running a country, by a government, for electing the government. The rules are made by consensus, by an agreement, and they are in written form. So this gives us the definition of a constitution. What is a constitution? A constitution is a written document. Sometimes it is an unwritten also. So A constitution is a written document that contains the rules and regulations to govern a country. So the rules that help in governing a country, that helps rules that help in running a country, when they are in a document, when they are in a written form, that document is called as constitution. Now we are going to see why constitution is described as soul of democracy. The constitution is described as soul of democracy, a very important essential part of democracy. Why constitution is described as the soul of democracy? Without soul, can a human being survive, or soul is considered as something very important for the survival. Soul is considered something very important, very essential for the existence. In that sense, constitution is described as the soul of democracy. For democracy to run smoothly, constitution is very essential. We'll see what is the relationship between constitution and democracy, why constitution is so essential for a democracy. First of all, because it aims to maintain political stability. Stability means what? The government, it works stably. It does not happen that due to some reason the one particular government is removed very quickly and then the other government is formed, or then there is a period of uncertainty where there is people are not sure about the rule, who is ruling the country, there is anarchy, there is disorder, again some government is formed. So such kind of situation, it does not help people to do their work, to achieve development in life. So stability is very important. So constitution, it aims to maintain political stability, peace and solidarity in the country. Means the aim of constitution is that in our country there should be a good atmosphere, that we can work properly, we can live properly, we can live happily, and peace is there. It aims to maintain peace. It tries to understand how peace will be established, and solidarity in the country. Solidarity is a feeling of support among the people who have similar interests. The second reason why constitution is called as soul of democracy is that it helps in determining structure of government. What kind of government a country will have, that is decided, that is determined by the constitution. It also determines the powers and functions of the government. What work will be carried out by the government, what authority, what power the government will have, that is also decided by the constitution. And the rights and duties of the people. Similarly, what are the duties of the citizens and what rights also the citizens are going to get, it is determined by the constitution. And lastly, it helps in binding together society by treating all communities equally. Because of constitution, their unity can be created in the society, because the rules of constitution are such that all the communities are treated equally. A feeling of alienation will not arise among the members of other communities. So this is the reason why constitution is considered as the soul of democracy. Now we move to the third topic of part 1, that why every country should have a constitution. The first reason is why every country should have a constitution is that a constitution defines the basic nature of society. Now in India we have a constitution, and what kind of society we live in, the nature of such society is described by the constitution. It is defined by the constitution, it is defined in the constitution. How it is defined in the constitution, what is the nature of the society we live in? The constitution lays down the ideals that all citizens believe in and agree to uphold. It lays down the principles that all citizens agree to abide by. So what are the ideals in our life? and which ideals we believe in life, and we uphold to those ideals. So those ideals, they are laid down in the constitution. Secondly, the constitution also lays down the principles, the values that all citizens agree to abide by. So the constitution, it consists of the ideals the citizens believe in, the principles the citizens believe in, and in this way it describes the nature of the society. We will understand this with through the help of an example, by studying the political situation of Nepal. All of you know that Nepal is a neighboring country of India, and there before 1990 in Nepal a king was ruling. There was monarchy. So when the king was ruling in Nepal during 1990, there was an unrest. There was protest by the people, and people wanted to change the system. People believed in some different principles and ideals, so they did not believe in the ideal of monarchy, a king ruling over them. The people believed that they should rule over themselves. There should be a democratic form of government. So people believed in the ideal of democracy. So there was a change, and in 1990, and there was a the king continued to be the head of the state, and with an elected prime minister running the government, and this existed till the year 2002. But in 2002, the next king, or the person who was the king in 2002, King Gyanendra, he sacked the government, and he began to take control, and in people again, they did not like it that the king is having the control over the government, and there is no prime minister. So in 2006 again there was a massive unrest. This time it was a massive unrest, and the people, they took to streets, and the people protested. First it was a protest of like 4 days, and then it was declared, it was changed into an indefinite protest, and the people defied the curfew, and people protested in against the government in large numbers. In some lakhs of people, they protested against the government. So there was an establishment of democracy, and the people refused to accept the earlier constitution, as it did not reflect the ideals of the people. So the king, he was stripped of all his powers, as we have seen that the people, they wanted democracy, the people did not want monarchy. So earlier constitution, it consisted the rules in which this kind of system existed, in which the king held the power. So all these powers of the king were removed according to the new constitution, and in 2008 a federal democratic republic, Nepal was declared as a federal democratic republic. So these are the ideals the people believed in. The people believed in the democratic ideals, and the constitution, it defines the ideals which the society believes in. So this is the first reason why every country should have a constitution. The first reason is what? What is the purpose of constitution? The constitution defines the ideals, it defines the nature of the society. Nature of the society means which ideals the society believes in, which principles the society believes in. Then the second reason is why every country should have a constitution is that the constitution describes the nature of the country's political system. It defines that what kind of politics exists in the country. So in the first, we have seen the reason of that. We have seen why constitution is essential? Because it describes the nature, it defines the nature, and now we require a nature of society. Now we see that constitution is necessary because it describes the nature of the country's politics, the nature of country's political system. Yes, what does it mean now? What is that political system? See, first of all, in the earlier part we have seen that in Nepal there was monarchy, and then the people, they established, the people protested, and people demanded for democracy, and democracy was established there. So what happens in monarchy? The king and his ministers take all the decisions, but in a democracy, constitution plays a crucial role. So in this way, the constitution, it describes the politics of the country, means what role constitution is playing in the running of the government. See, I will explain you with the help of some points what is meant by the constitution describing the political system. It lays down, the constitution lays down guidelines for selection of representatives. This is the political system existing in a country, that no king will take the decisions, but the constitution will decide. It already has laid down guidelines for selection of representatives. Like, who are representatives? You know, the country is run by a government, and who is the government? The government is the government consists of the people's representatives. Suppose we have a representative from Akot, we have a representative from Akola, and these representatives, Akola has a legislative assembly constituency, and Akola also has the constituency for the general elections. So like, we have 3 representatives, one from Akot for the local government, one from Akola for the legislative assembly, and one from Akola for the member of parliament. So these 3, I am giving an example of like who are the representatives, and what do the representatives do? They run the government. So what kind of representatives should be chosen, should be selected? So guidelines for that are laid down in the constitution. So it is not the king who is making the rules. The constitution has already laid down the guidelines, or you can say rules. Then, not related to just selection of the representatives, but also distribution of power, like how the power would be distributed. This is called as sharing of power, distribution of power. Power is shared among the different organs of government, then among different levels of government, among different social groups. So the constitution also lays down the guidelines for distribution of power, how power should be distributed, say for example between the center and the state. Then the constitution puts down a system of checks and balances. What does that mean? There are 3 organs of government. Do you know? There are 3 organs of government, like the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. So by putting down a system of checks and balances, what happens is that each organ, it keeps a check on the other. The 3 organs I told you: legislature, executive, and judiciary. What is legislature? It consists of those members who make the law of the country. So execute is those who are executing, those who carry out, and judiciary is like they are judging whether anything wrong is done, and accordingly they are declaring the punishment for it if anything is done wrong. So these 3 organs, what a check is kept on these 3 organs by one another, and this this ensures that none of the organ exercises unlimited power. Neither the executive, nor the legislature, nor the judiciary, they exercise unlimited power, because a check is kept on them, and because of such check, it results in a balance. Therefore, it is called a system of checks and balances. So the constitution puts on a system of checks and balances. So this is like how what is the nature of politics or political system in a country. It is described by a constitution. And third is, in the constitution, fundamental rights include the rules that protects the interest of citizens against misuse of authority by government officials or politicians. See, this is the political system. A king is not deciding and his ministers are not deciding how to run the country. The constitution, it has fundamental rights. And what is the need of fundamental rights? What is the purpose? What do they do? They include the rules, and those rules, they protect the interest of citizens against the misuse of authority. So the authority can be the government officials or can be the politicians. So they should not misuse their authority. And who protects against such misuse of authority? The fundamental rights. It protect our fundamental rights of the citizens. It protects us from the misuse of authority by the politicians and government officials. So this is a kind of political system which is described by the constitution. So students, this is the second purpose, second reason why a country should have a constitution. What is the first reason we have seen? That why a constitution, every country should have a constitution. The first reason is that it defines the nature of the society, and the second one is that it describes the nature of the political system. Now we move to the third reason why every country should have a constitution. Yes, to protect the interest of the minority against the domination of the influential sections of the society. You know the difference in minority and majority. Suppose take example of your own classroom. In your class, if the students, the number of boys is more than the number of girls, then the boys are said to be in majority. So in a country also, there is majority and minority on certain basis. If we take on the basis of religion, then in India the Hindus are in majority, and the people of belonging to the other religions like Islam or Christianity, Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism, they are in minority. So if we see similarly on the basis of language, if we take example of Maharashtra, so which people are in majority? The people who speak Marathi language, they are in majority. So majority and minority, it can be on different basis. It can be on the basis of gender, as we have seen in example of your classroom. It can be on the basis of religion. It can be on the basis of language. So in a country, the people who belong to the minority, sometimes their interest they may be infringed, they may be violated, they may be denied. So against the constitution, it protects the interest of the minority. Against whom? Against the domination of the influential sections of the society. This can be the majority section of the society. It includes inter-community and intra-community domination. So protecting the interest from whom? From the members of other community, like the protecting the interest of minority community against the majority community. That is example of inter-community domination. And one more kind of domination exists, that is called as intra-community, that is within community. Means one group of people, it dominates the other group of people in the same community. That is example of intra-community domination. So the constitution, it protects the interest of minority against inter-community domination and intra-community domination.
One example is given here in the textbook, that there is a resident welfare association, and the members of this association, they don't want children from neighboring slum area to come and play in the park. So not allowing a group of people to play in the park, which is meant for all, is a discrimination. So constitution, it strictly prohibits discrimination which is done on grounds of caste, creed, gender, class and race. Now we come to the last reason why a country should have a constitution. What is the last reason? A country should have a constitution because the constitution safeguards, it protects us, means the people, we the citizens, against choices that might have undesirable effect on rules and principles. Sometimes some people may have a choice, and that choice of the people that can have a undesirable effect, a wrong effect on rules and principles that the people of the country believe in. So the constitution protects us from such choices which can have a wrong effect on the rules and principles that the people of the country believe in. So students, these are the 4 reasons why a country should have a constitution. So students, today we have covered part 1 completely now, and in part 1 we have seen what is constitution, the definition of constitution we have seen. Yes, we will take a quick recap of what we have seen today. What is constitution? Constitution is a written document by which includes, which contains the rules and regulations by which a country is governed. Then we have seen why constitution is described as the soul of democracy. There we have seen the reasons why constitution is described as the soul of democracy. We have what are the reasons why constitution is described as the soul of democracy? Constitution, it helps to maintain the political stability of the country, peace and solidarity. It helps in deciding the structure of the government, form of government, the powers and functions of the government, the rights and duties of the people, and it also helps in binding the people together by treating all the communities equally. Then in the third part we have seen why a country should have a constitution. There we have seen the 3 reasons. The first reason was that a country should have a constitution because it defines the basic nature of the society, the ideas, the principles the people of the country believe in. The constitution defines such basic nature of society, that is the basic ideas and principles of the society which the people believe in. Second reason is why the country should have a constitution is that it describes the nature of the political system. We have seen that where there is monarchy, the king takes the decision, but in a democratic setup, the constitution it determines the rules, it determines certain rules regarding how to elect the representatives, what kind of power sharing arrangement will be there. It puts down a system of checks and balances so that none of the institution it can misuse the authority, it can misuse its power. Then the third was the fundamental rights, which protects the interest of the citizens against the misuse of authority. And the third one was that it protects the interest of the minority against the domination of influential section of the society. Here we have seen the 2 types of domination. The domination can be within the community, that is called as the intra-community, and it can be one community people can try to dominate the people of other community, that is called as inter-community domination. And the last reason we have seen is that why constitution is important is that the constitution, it protects us against the choices that are undesirable, for that have an undesirable effect on the rules and principles that the country believe in. So student, this is it for today. You do read the part which we have covered today, and tomorrow we are going to begin with the second part. Thank you.